Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Mr. John Dewar is expecting us.
And your name, sir?
My name's Palmer.
Would you have a seat, sir, please?
Thank you.
Mr. Dewar, Mr. Palmer to see you, sir. Yes, sir. Right over, sir.
Good morning. I did say good morning.
Morning.
Who were you saying good morning to?
Well, someone just said good morning.
Well, there's nobody here. You must have imagined it.
Of course I said good morning.
Well, there. Well, you heard it that time, didn't you?
Hmm?
Well, the voice. It said good morning. Didn't you hear it?
Oh, get away with you. You'll be telling me that it's that Highlander next.
McNabb? Oh, not him. He's a comparative newcomer. He's only been here since 1917.
Now, look here. I don't know who you are or where you're hiding, but this has gone on long enough. Now, where are you?
I'm here, right beside you. Oh, you didn't know I could talk, did you? Yes, it's me. I'm just an ordinary bottle of Dewar's whiskey. But you see, I've got an interesting story to tell. It's a story that starts a long, long time ago. It all started here, in Shenville, Scotland. A crofter's son used to go to school across these fields. He used to take a large peat turf each day for the school fire. His name was John Dewar. When he left school, he worked for a time as a joiner, and then moved to Perth. He worked there with his uncle, who was a wine and spirit merchant. But Dewar was an ambitious man, and in 1846 he opened his own shop in the High Street. He sold wines and spirits, the whiskey of the 1840s. He was one of the first to put whiskey in bottles. The business did well, but little was sold outside Perth. Dewar was a cautious man. The shop had been open for 14 years when he appointed his first travelling salesman. But the caution paid off. When the Taybridge disaster and the collapse of the City of Glasgow Bank had a profound effect on confidence in Scottish business in general, the House of Dewar was not affected. The business continued to prosper. But costs were always kept in check, and staff kept to a minimum. Gradually, numbers increased, and the year before his death, John Dewar made one of his 7 sons, John Alexander Dewar, a partner in the business. John and his younger brother Thomas Dewar decided to expand the business. At the age of 21, he set off for London. He was determined to make the name of Dewar, then almost unknown outside Perth, a household word north and south of the border. He had been given the names of 2 people who, it was thought, might be able to help him. But he arrived to find one bankrupt and the other dead, so he had to make his own way unaided. He was quick to appreciate the power of publicity, and Dewar advertising was soon the focus of public interest. The company also produced one of the first illuminated signs. The whiskey became more popular and more successful. At the Edinburgh International Exhibition of 1886, it won a silver medal for merit, the first of many awards. Hotels and bars began to place orders, and the business grew. Queen Victoria favoured the company with a royal warrant, and in 1892, Tom Dewar set out on a 2-year ramble round the globe. He later wrote a book about his experiences. He visited 26 countries and appointed 32 distributors overseas to represent the company. Many of them still represent Dewar's today. By Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee, the company had opened new premises in Perth and were producing more than 1 million gallons a year. It had also acquired its own malt distillery at Aberfeldy, a few miles from the village where the whole story started. It's still in use today. It's been enlarged, but production methods remain unchanged. Here, today's activities are very different. It's here that my part of the story really begins. And it's here that I think you ought to meet my brother, White Label. He's my twin brother, of course. We're both exactly the same, in all but name. He prefers to travel, so you'll more often find him overseas. I like to stay nearer home myself. Otherwise, we're both exactly the same as each other, and both quite unlike other whiskies. You see, we're not just whiskies. We're Dewar's whiskey. And it's here at Inverarmond that we become different. These are all mature Scotch whiskies, individual samples from different distilleries, sent here from all over Scotland for this man to examine. He's the Dewar Master Blender, the man who decides what I'm made of. He selects by experience. My life can only begin when this man is entirely satisfied with all these different whiskies. You see, I'm a composite sort of character. I come from all over Scotland, from Aberfeldy, Port Dundas, Speyside, the Hebrides, Skye and Islay. All the best individual malts and grains approved and ready for blending. The Master Blender makes the marriage from which I am born. My parents are single malt and single grain whiskies. The Master Blender marries them, and I'm the result. After the wedding, I'm put back in casks and left for several months to make sure I'm mature enough. I don't know where you spent your honeymoon, but I can think of a few more romantic places than this. Though I suppose I can't really complain. The barrels are rather special. They're all looked after by Dewar's master craftsmen. These old wooden casks help to give me my delicate colour. When I'm considered mature enough, they let me out. Out of the barrel and out of the blending building too. From casks of maturity to modern packaging methods. Before I'm allowed in the bottling hall, all the bottles must be cleaned. I must take some water myself too. When I travel through these pipes, I'm very strong indeed. Actually, at this stage, I'm overproof. Far too strong for most people. So when I arrive in here, I'm given some water. The amount I'm allowed to drink is measured by a clock. The water is very special water. I don't drink any old tap water. I've got my own loch. It's guarded and piped from Loch Turret to Inverarmond. When I've had enough water, I'm allowed in the bottling hall. You'll find me and my brother all over the world. Wherever we go, we're always made welcome. People are always asking for us. We're always going to parties and to sporting events. You've probably read about our Dewar Cup tennis championships. All the best players take part. In South Africa, we have our own bowls championship. And in Japan, there's the Dewar Golf Championship. Of course, you'll always find us at Dewar House. I've still got one ancestor to keep me company, an older and more mature character, whose tastes are just a little more expensive. Well, I hope we meet again. You'll always find me if you just ask for me. Meanwhile, why don't you try me? And give your wife some as well.
Now, darling, I think it's time we had a glass of Dewar's whiskey.
Oh, do you think we should?
Oh, it's all right, dear. We've had an invitation.
Oh. Well, in that case, cheers. Wonder how they make it.
Oh, that's a story that starts a long, long time ago.